Does up the temperature a little bit, but there we go. Looks like we have everything taken care of, and we are into the lobby for our second draft. SKT swapping over to the blue side. Let's see what they want to kick things off with.
Well, we know LeBlanc's not going to get through the bans, so that's when you can have inked in on the side of Jinner. Ban all
Katarina.
11 of those games. Katarina would be a sight. I'd love to see that. The question is, Faker's certainly been spamming it, so he probably has a good idea of it even in bad matchups. Are you willing to take it in the first rotation?
Probably not. I think that would be very, very bold. Speaking of first rotation champions, Camille taken off the board by Jinner.
Will Jinner ban the Maokai? That's my big question. We have traditionally seen Maokai slip to the second round, but we have seen some early rotation Maokai, and I think Maokai, with the Poppy nerfs, is a tier above Nautilus and Poppy, who are the other tanks in the top lane. Now, there are answers. We know about something like the Fiora. There are options available, so for now, no tanks are banned. It's been sprinkling of top laners and mid laners so far.
Yeah, Malzahar yet again going to be banned by SK Telecom. Their final ban in the first round, and Syndra will be taken off the board as well by Jinner. So
Rengar comes through.
Yeah, that's true.
It's insta-lock, of course.
Here we go. Well, Peanut gets his hands on yet another highly aggressive snowball jungler. And looks like Umti might just be sticking to the Lee Sin yet again.
The Syndra ban actually is what forces out the Rengar first pick, and blue side is the only side that will see a glimpse of Rengar as the balance levels stand now, because you look at the bans, LeBlanc and Camille are must bans. They are not options, and then Syndra piloted by Faker just sounds really, really scary. We have seen some teams leave open the Syndra. We saw, for example, KT Rolster happy to hand over Syndra and first pick Rise. But the mid lane, the respect specifically Faker will get, means it's often going to be 2 to 3 mid lane bans, and it leaves open the Rengar for blue side.
Yeah. Well, looks like we have the Lee Sin and the Jin for Jinner yet again. So we'll be revisiting those picks. I mean, Teddy, this has been, the most comfortable looking champion for him so far.
And these are the two rookies who've been drafted in the first round. Teddy looked much better on Jin than other champions, so we still need to see him to really get a fully fledged opinion of his general strength. And Umti just had a very good game on Lee Sin, even if they didn't win. So keep the comfort on the rookies, keep them as comfortable as possible. Oh, is it going to be the first one?
Oh, dear.
This could just be Faker having a bit of fun, but it's locked
They
in.
lock it in. There we go. Ziggs and Zyra. Bot lane for SKT potentially.
So are we excited, or are we the first to be like, really, SKT? You're gonna do this to us?
Oh, I'm excited. I think that this is going to be one of the dirtiest bot lane games that we've seen in a considerable amount of time, Papa. I've been playing the Ziggs in the bottom lane. I know that you've tried your hands at it. It's absolutely impressive. And I am ready to see what can happen when it's put into the hands of Bang.
I really don't know about the Tahm Kench lock-in either. It just means lots of grouped bombs coming through. Tahm Kench can do nothing against a lane as oppressive. This is the strongest 2v2 lane you could ask for. Ziggs and Zyra will do unbelievable ranged poke, and as a melee support, oh boy.
I mean, even if you get the Devour off, you can just satchel charge them back into your team, and then suddenly you pop both people back.
You can't pick a melee support against this line. You can understand with the Rengar why they're doing it, but this 2v2 lane will be just the most hellish possible for Jinner. We'll, of course, talk more and more about Ziggs. There's still an outside chance it goes to the mid lane. I mean, it could be played there, but everyone knows about this trend of Ziggs bottom. It was started by Shifter of NA LCS fame. Looking at the bans, interesting. So Maokai ban is immediately responded to with a Kled ban. So the only spanner that was thrown into the works was the Kled, you'd say, in game one, and already seeing some respect.
Yeah. So they do take that one off the board. Don't want to deal with it. Was a bit of a nuisance, I suppose, for SK Telecom. Not so much a massive threat, but something that they don't have to deal with any longer. And the Rumble will still be taken away from Huni.
So that's safe, blind pick, top laner, does well in tank matchups, does well in almost any matchup, famously has a cheap item build, and in his history, Huni's most played is actually the Rumble. His career, I believe it's 21-4 on Rumble, and of course Huni had undefeated seasons in general. Immortals even also did well in the regular season, so a lot of his win rates are high, but 25 games, 84%. It's very, very good.
Okay, wasn't sure if we were going to see that one go through yet again for Kuzan. Cassiopeia is taken off the board. The final ban of this draft done by SKT.
So what will they look for here? The trend has been mid lane first, but there could be an argument for just a tank top laner. Not many left. Poppy and Nautilus are the two that catch the eye. And if we do see, his most played this season solo queue was the Singe. We saw some great Singe play.
Locked in.
Now Singe does really well against Poppy and Nautilus. So does that mean we see a carry from Huni? Because sure, Singe does well against tanks, but there are a lot of top lane champions that can dominate a Singe.
Well, right now the hover is over the Nautilus. Could see him just go for that.
So Nautilus is the better of the two options between Poppy and the Singe, just because he has more AoE clear. Just walks up, E's, can also W minions. He has more options. He also has the hook to hook into turret.
Oh,
Katarina!
buddy, there we go. Made it through the draft. It will be picked up. So, man, what a treat. SKT.
Are they just going to pick a Riven or something crazy here? They could go for a full style comp because they need...
oh, man.
A tank makes more sense.
I don't think I've been more excited for a draft than this right now, Papa Smithy. Ziggs in the bottom lane for Bang, Katarina in mid for Faker. We've seen his highlight clips making it to the top of Reddit, his 1v2 kills in the mid lane. It will be Poppy picked up for Huni, so not going to see a carry coming out for him. There's already so much damage on the side of SKT. They need a tanky front line, so Huni, the onus is on him, and he takes up the mantle. But now, where do you go if you're Jin Air in the mid lane up against this Katarina?
Now, the comfort pick for Kuzan would be the Lissandra, who's still playing in solo queue, and it is locked in. Okay, so they go for the Lissandra. Very, very difficult to get the kill on Lissandra. Also a good lane to gank when it comes for the Lee Sin. To me, the big story here is Umti, who looked good in his first game as Lee Sin. We saw his decisive gank in the mid lane. He has good lanes to try and take advantage of. I really like Singed against Poppy. Can pressure him really hard, and he should be able to control the side of the jungle around the Singed lane. And then Katarina is another gankable target. So to me, Umti is the ultimate equalizer. If Peanut gets his first ganks off, if Peanut can hold down the Lee Sin, the pressure in these lanes is going to be insane for SKT. And it's a different side for Bang and Wolf, who famously have to play defensive because their rest of the team is Faker, is carries. Now they're on Zig Zyra, and they will be pushing inevitably, exhaustively in the bot lane. This is a really, really strong winning 2v2 lane for SKT.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how easily Jin Air was able to sweep through all of the turrets on the side of SK Telecom. Could just see that flipped entirely on its head now that the Ziggs has come through. I'm excited to see what kind of build path he goes for. There's been some differentiation with the Ziggs in the bottom. Usually, you know, the Morello and Omicron to start things off, but sometimes Luden, sometimes that Rabadon's Death Cap, sometimes even just straight for the Lich Bane, where you can really start knocking down those turrets. So I want to see where Bang is going to go with this build, but also how Kuzan is going to handle this mid lane, because Faker on Katarina, high mechanic champion. It's just perfect for him on paper, and I'm just excited to see how this is going to go down.
There's a lot to like here about the SK Telecom draft, but it is a risk. It's our first sighting of this Ziggs in competitive play. They are heavy on the magic damage. If they get a start, though, SKT are going to be just a treat to watch, because Faker and Katarina, I'm already smiling.
Oh yeah, it's going to be absolutely great, but let's just stop talking about it. Let's go ahead and get ready to get into the game. Game 2, SKT, 1-up over Jin Air. Want to close it out right here. Jin Air going to be looking to take us to a third and final game. Let's see if they can do it. Let's get on to the Rift. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, SKT, pulling out all the stops. Rengar for Peanut, Faker on Katarina, and the Ziggs for Bang. Quite the oppressive bottom lane, and confusingly enough, Jin Air still opted into that melee support of Tom Kench, so you have to expect that things are going to be rough for Snowflower and Teddy in the bottom side of the map. A bit of invasion coming through from SKT. They are spotted out by that ward, but I don't think there's much that Umti and Ixu can do about it. And they will just be backing off, so SKT going to get an early start, and Umti going to be a little bit behind.
So the reason why this really works for SKT is because you know that SKT will have the pushing advantage in bot if they want it. So if you invade the top side, suddenly, unless Lee Sin starts on the enemy red buff, the lane will be pushed for SKT. You won't be able to get the bot lane support to come and help you, and you can't steal away the red buff. So you can't play vertically if you know for sure SKT are going to have a pushing advantage. And that's why it's smart for Umti to just rush to the enemy red, because if you don't take it first buff, it's not going to be available.
So he does adapt to the situation as best as possible. Now we'll be moving over towards those Krugs. See that Deadly Flourish not going to connect from Teddy. They will try to fire back and out-push the pushers. Bang. Gonna take him a little bit. Has to get a couple points into that queue before he's really going to be able to clear out these back waves.
Now, they could have actually won the pushing war here because it'd just be 2 ranged auto attackers and also AoE from the Ziggs, but because they know the enemy has information that the SKT jungler is topside, they have to respect the Lee Sin going for a level 2 or a level 3 gank bot, so they have to kind of just play a bit more defensively than you would expect at level 1. But as you say, a few more levels, a bit more information on the enemy jungler's pathing, and they'll be pushed up right under the turret of Jin Air.
Yeah, but even up underneath that turret, Bang gonna be fine to last hit. Has that short fuse passive to really get those big hits in, so he'll be all right for the time being. Meanwhile, some trades up in top. Ixu gets a toss on Huni. Goes quite low. Already has chugged up a lot of those charges in the refillable potion. Starting off with the Dark Seal, I think we know exactly where that build's going to go.
Yeah, it's been crowned the Dank Seal build because you don't build one of them, Achilles. They actually don't have a unique passive. So given that a lot of Singed power is from regeneration early, something like Corrupting Potion, double, triple Dark Seal has become the standard because you get that ult, suddenly you have those extra mana regen, extra health regen, and every Dark Seal gives you 25% bonus regeneration, suddenly 75% on what is a very high base number from the ult, and it doesn't matter how much harass you're taking, you're going to regen through it.
Yeah. You can see Ixu already has gone back, burned out the teleport to get back into the lane so he can keep inching ahead in the CS, but double Dark Seal is the start. We'll see if he wants to go all the way for the third one, or if he'll start opting into some other build items. Needs to connect onto Teddy, who's quite low. 2 hours there from Snowflower to keep him alive, but otherwise, not too much heavy trading in the bottom side of the map.
I welcome this Singed meta that may be coming through, the Singed overlords from Korea.
When's the last time we really had a Singed meta?
Oh, Season 2.
I was going to say, it's been quite some time.
One of the most famous Singed of all time is Shy, who, of course, is on the bench for the Rocksiders. We didn't see him yesterday. We also have Flame, who played some Singed in his day. But the reason why he's there is that standard lanes suddenly Singed, famously useless in a 1v2, but quite good in some standard lane matchups. And then when the tanks come in, if they don't have a lot of wave clear, the moment you can actually get through the turret, start proxying waves, guarantee vision and so much accountability of the enemy top laner, and then just go into a standard tank build, Singed becomes a very tempting pick.
See how it's going to play out here for Ixu. A very pokey performance on that Kled in game 1. Faker looking to try to stop the recall of Kuzan. Walks up a little bit, and what do you know? He is able to cancel that channel. Going to be suffering a bit in CS, as you would expect, being a basically melee champion with that Katarina.
Mid party.
Oh boy. It's the game of try to kill Faker, which will path forward, tries to get onto him. They drop the Frozen Tomb, and he gets tossed back. They find the first blood, goes over to Ixu. Nicely done, and now Peanut in a rough spot as Snowflower has wandered his way up to the top. Burns the flash, root does come out onto Snowflower. That's going to keep Peanut alive, and the Sonic Wave barely not going to connect. But nicely done. Take 3 people to roam down to mid. They come up with the first blood.
Yeah, the communication there, I guess, wasn't on point from SKT, or Faker just disrespected with his positioning. Could have taken Cleanse, but in general it feels like to lane the Katarina effectively, and obviously to get that first reset, you often itemize the, you often take the Ignite and help him in that scenario. Keeps his flash, so at least the wraparound ganks won't be as strong, but First Blood Jin Air, good start for that.
Yep. Kicking things off quite nicely, especially with that CS lead that is really growing for Kuzan now, 52-33. Faker will pick up a good amount here.
But he's forced into a really rough itemization. Also, he rushes the Merc Tread so that he doesn't have a repeat where, because of the longer CC duration, Singe could just ghost in and get the flip. Negatron would almost always be the start into finishing up the Gunblade, but feels like need to stop that duration of the first CC. So probably a pretty smart heads-up choice, but it's a lot of gold to spend. 1,200 gold instead of just the 720 for the Negatron means that the damage is just going to be that much more delayed from Faker.
Yeah, so likely just going to be sitting back, trying to farm him as much as possible. And oh boy, Peanut, he gets found out. Humte jumping in, takes him out quite swiftly with a Dragon's Rage.
Humte's got something about him. He's got some swagger, Achilles.
Yeah, what it shows, and definitely showed it right there. Bang going low, Teddy stuck on top of that minefield.
Looking at the experience, only half experience to level 6 for Ziggs, so wasn't able to just clear the backline and kill him with ultimate. It's just not done, just getting in some really aggressive wards, and this is what happens in Poppy versus Singed. Singed clears the wave, Poppy's under turret, and Singed can go wherever he wants on the map, and if your jungler's losing, Rengar just got solo killed by the enemy jungler, no one's there to stop that Singed from being accountable. And that lack of accountability might allow Jin Air to just have one-way traffic in the early game.
Yeah, so far so good. 1,000 gold up, just 8 minutes in. SKT have not been able to find any advantageous trades, really. Ixu going in trying to...
That change wasn't even in there. That change was 2 years ago when they made it auto laugh when you flip. Last time Singed was in the meta, more than 2 years ago.
Yep. But what a nice subtle change it is. But, I mean, you can see Ixu just runs up, clears the wave, immediately starts roaming down. It's getting vision inside the jungle of SKT. He's playing this really well.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think SKT should have gone all in, Achilles. They needed a carry in top as well to actually be able to take advantage of the Singed, because they've gone for a snowball mid laner in the Katarina that's a riskier choice, and then they go for Poppy to just lose lane against Singed. If it was someone who could have kill pressure on Singed, less of these variables would have to come together for SKT to get ahead. But actually going for the reliable tank in the late game has cost them in the early game pretty dearly.
So, who would... Oh, I might have to hold that thought, actually. Wolf going to get locked down, flashes away from the Deadly Flourish, but that's going to be the Ring of Frost connecting from Kuzan, and they find both kills. Big bomb comes out from Bang, trying to find a kill. MT jumping over the wall, getting away from the W, but Bang's able to finish him off with a Q and an auto attack. Making use of that short fuse passive. Looks like Kuzan might be able to wonder his way out. Takes the blast cone over the wall. And yeah, he will be suiciding inside the base of SK Telecom. So nice execute from him. And Jin Air, a really good spot.
That's really well put together there from Jin Air. Poppy was the first one to react, so multiple members had to die, but only one kill Cresper over. This is Kuzan on a champion he has always been strong on. He has always looked like a top Lissandra. And the reason why I especially liked it here is that he could take teleport, and suddenly now the overextended bot lane has to respect 2 teleports. Is it Singed? Is it Lissandra? Suddenly more risky for Ziggs and Zyra to play their game. And while it wasn't the teleport that secured that kill, the teleport's up for the next time the ult is available.
Yeah. Now, something I did want to ask you before that fight broke out was, I mean, you talk about Huni, should have come in, should have played, a more aggressive top laner. What would you have liked to have seen from him if he had picked a more carry-oriented style top laner?
It just needs to be something punishing. A lot of lanes lose early, like something like a Fiora. If you get ult, then you have a bit more. If you have Tiamat ult, even then, if Singed is far enough ahead, you won't be able to chase them down, so Fiora is an option. Something like a Riven just dominates Singed, but would have been all in on laning phase, and game goes even, you get outscaled. So I just feel that they're losing a lot from Singed having a lot of free mobility. And Rengar, sure, can get ahead. Sure, the respect is there for the power of this pick. But when Rengar starts to lose trades straight up to the Lee Sin, there's a couple of headaches here that SKT kind of have to work their way through before they can resume normal business.
Sure. Well, looks like we had a slight little issue inside the booth of our Jin Air. I think it might have been an audio problem. But have that taken care of, straight back into the game. Not going to waste any time. So 1,000 gold still in the lead is Jin Air been maintaining that for about 3 minutes or so now, and they have since picked up a couple more kills. Turret damage hasn't been much of a factor for either side. Peanut jumps forward, gets onto Snowflower, lands the stun there, or the root rather, and Snowflower, he's going to have to flash out. You see Kuzan throwing that Glacial Path back over the wall, but Faker, he's going to go in, pops the Death Blossom, comes up with a kill, Death Lotus rather, and they will take him down. 2 kills picked up as Peanut is able to finish off Kuzan. He throws out the Sonic Wave, would be able to finish off Peanut perhaps, but it's a little bit too risky. Now it's going to be that curtain call coming through. Wolf having to body block these last couple shots. Is able to do so. No bullet bending coming up for Teddy. Gets popped into the minefield. There we go. Flashes away. Will keep himself alive for now. Deadly Flourish to just slow up Bang. But nicely played by Teddy to keep himself alive. But SKT, they're able to pick up 2 more kills.
Yeah, the 4v4 actually worked really well for SKT. Faker invested a lot. Didn't have to ignite. Got the first kill. Suddenly everyone from Jin Air has to run away. I thought Jin Air had done just enough to get away. Specifically Kuzan, Glacial Path onto an invisible Rengar then escaping, but first kill comes out. 2 kills back for SKT, and now we're all even. In fact, SKT just slightly ahead.
Yeah, Death Lotus, not Death Blossom. That was my game I was casting last night. Have to make that
Wait,
distinction.
which Riot Games title is that, sorry?
It's Riot Game.
Oh, okay. Mechs versus Minions, is that the one?
We'll see. There's got to be another game on the horizon, so I'm excited to see what that might be. Who knows when that'll happen, though. But for now, we have some good old League of Legends.
Just to be clear, we have no inside information.
Oh,
on
I
that.
have no
You're not being clever. You're just being a play-by-play caster. You don't know.
No. I'm just saying it's bound.
I don't want to get any messages from Riot Games, Achilles.
Sure. I think that it will happen. I have no clue.
I'll just stick with the last part of that conversation.
All right. Anyway. Jin Air slipping up a little bit now. The gold made even by SKT after that quite nice play. Snowflower, he's going to get rooted up. They want to go in. Peanut jumping in. Great health. He does come through. Keeping Snowflower alive for the time being, but Peanut is able to finish him off. Bang, running for his life. Jukes out on the Deadly Flourish. The roof comes through into Ote. Bang, he doesn't go down, and they pick up the kill. A double kill for Peanut. Throws out the ultimate to clear out the wave. Can they get a push on the tower? We'll have to wait and see, but my God, Bang played that to a T.
And just Snowflower can't get down any wards to actually get benefit out of Kuzan's teleport. He had to run down because there wasn't a ward that was in a really good spot to be able to react. Snowflower goes down. This game hasn't entirely planned out like we expected, but SKT wrestling back momentum, and even with Singed having a fun old time in top, Poppy's keeping up in CS. Singed hasn't been able to roam to mid and make the kind of plays he did in the early game. Suddenly, breathing room for SKT.
Oh, for sure. 1 kill on to Bang there, 1-0-2. And still slightly down in CS, but I think that's going to turn around for him. Interesting that he's going for the Tear of the Goddess on Ziggs. Haven't seen a whole lot of that in the Ziggs bottom builds.
When Lost Chapter isn't enough mana regen for you, you need a Tear apparently. You're right, that is a new adaptation. I noticed it as well. It seemed extra risky just because they were losing the early game and they're not buying early power.
Uh-oh, Peanut.
This is risky for Peanut.
Oh, boy. Now he's going to get locked down. Frozen Tombs comes out. Not going to be able to live.
He even had the...
Will finish him off. Faker, he goes for it. Throws out the Death Lotus. Gets a lot of damage on the Umti. Falls him over the wall with the Blast Cone. The Ignite is ticking. Throws out the Bouncing Blade. Finishes him off. Nicely played by Faker. And now the roam down from Huni. Wolf joining the squad. They take down Kuzan, and things are just starting to unravel ever so steadily for Jin Air.
And you can instantly see how the experience for Faker is put into benefit. Bang in the bot lane, though.
Oh, yeah, he's going to knock him back with the Satchel Charge, throws out the ultimate, flashes to the other side, and here comes Huni, knocks 2 up with the Keeper's Verdict. Devour coming through from Snowflower onto Ixu, but Wolf is on the roam down. Going to try to lock them up with roots, flashes forward, finds Ixu, the exhaust comes out, throws out a massive ultimate, will pop him up, stun into the wall on Teddy by Huni. Faker coming around the backside. Can he get the tumble? No, he won't. The kill goes over to Bang, but that's 3 more picked up for SKT, plus the first brick gold coming through. They have blown this game wide open in a matter of minutes.
Jin Air had the lid on the SKT Chaos in the early game, but one Rengar ult into a second. Suddenly, Chaos reigns supreme. Faker's able to walk down, and still nowhere for Lissandra to really become involved in this fight, and that's really costing Jin Air Green Wings.
I mean, fantastic response by Huni as well, immediately channeling the teleport when they saw that Abyssal Voyage.
To Lissandra's credit, she was dead this time.
Sure.
She had been picked off, but Faker very smart in his roam, coming around the back. You just can't push up lanes when your mid laner with teleport is dead. Ixu's able to get there, but doesn't have any impact. There goes the bot lane turret, and now the Ziggs bot cancer spreads to mid lane.
We'll see how quickly he can knock down this turret. Kuzan does have some pretty reliable wave clears, so might be a bit more difficult to get in underneath of that one.
Reliable is true, but it's because it takes 2Q that's actually quite delayed wave clear. We don't have a Victor that just instant kills the backline. It takes a bit of time for that Lissandra as Peanut goes again, but this time Tahm Kench does his job.
Yeah, he's ready to keep his AD carry alive, so Peanut won't even be getting any damage in onto Teddy. He'll make it out safely, and we'll just have to wait a little bit longer for Peanut to get that cooldown back up and try again.
There was so much breathing room for Jin Air early. Those 2 early kills, it was 2-0 at one point, but Faker forced into Merc Treads. Suddenly, he's ahead of the build curve. Even got some stacks on his Dark Seal.
Yeah, it's up to 8 right now. Gunblade was completed, has the Fiendish Codex coming through. See where he wants to go with that one. If he wants to go straight for a Zhonya's Hourglass. Change things up a little bit.
A lot of the power from that newly reworked Katarina is in the passive. Every time you catch one of those daggers, you do the AoE that used to be the W. And the fact that as it goes on, I believe level 16, it's 100% AD and AP. It's funny that the ratios there, actually the kick in the late game, is where a lot of the power from the Katarina is. And so late game damage is going to be certainly fearsome from Faker. Should also talk about the Ziggs bot that we've, touched on lightly. It is a very common pick. It does have a high win rate. But it's kind of a symptom of both standard lanes and how the meta is right now. AD carry itemization has been much maligned. A lot of people talk about the power level of AD carries. You think about what AD carry is supposed to do. Push waves, and it's kill turrets. And guess what? Ziggs pushes waves damn fast. He kills turrets, in fact, executes them. So you win that turret war. So if there's any sort of 3 people pushing top, 3 pushing bot, Ziggs is always going to win that trade. And then, sure, in the late game, you don't have as much physical auto attack damage, but how often do we see these AD carries get to 4 or 5 items? Not much in the current meta. So Lichbane Ziggs suddenly does everything you need from an AD carry and has a stronger laning phase than most.
Yeah. And you can see the Lichbane is going to be the next item coming through, or at least that Sheen is picked up for him. So Bang going to be looking to get a kill onto this mid-tier 1 tower. Hasn't gotten too much alone time. I think it's down to about half HP. So if you could get, a short fuse hit in with that Sheen, we'll knock it very close into that execute range from the Satchel Charge.
It's good that you mentioned the Satchel Charge execute range. People talk about Ziggs bot and they're like, wait, this change has been in there for quite a long time. Why are people only really noticing it now? The other freedom you have in bot lane is that you don't necessarily need to max E second. You can max the Satchel second and have that higher threshold. We moused over Bang a second ago. It actually feels like he's going very much for the mid lane build. He has tier. He's actually maxing E second, I believe, which is atypical for Ziggs mid. But you can get that threshold higher by maxing W second. And when you have someone like a Zyra to help you push, there isn't that same need to have the 5 points in the minefield at level 12 or 13.
See, we'll be just clearing out the wave. Still can't push up comfortably. Didn't really know where Umti was. Now shows himself in mid. But looks like it's just going to be Bang sticking around for a while. Huni's been handling this top lane fairly well, even in CS. So has really kind of put a halt to the clear and roam that Ixu was showing off in the beginning of the game, getting that first kill on Faker, getting that vision in the jungle of SK Telecom. Hasn't really had that freedom.
Ziggs trying to fish for something here.
Faker juice back. Teddy not going to get rooted up. Taking that much damage. Curveball's opened up, and here comes the rest of Jin Air. Root does land onto Umti. Teleport coming through Moody right into the thick of things. Ixu getting locked up, and Bang finds the first kill. He will go down, throws out the bomb, only gets a little bit of damage on the Snowflower. Umti comes up with a double kill, exits down through the jungle of SK Telecom, and I think they just have to peel back. Several members of Jin Air are low, but without Bang, without Wolf, It's going to be risky. Huni, he's willing to take that risk. Keeper's verdict not going to connect, but Faker goes
That's
forward,
one.
finds a kill, takes out the Jhin. Can he find a kill into Oopty? Jumps back over the wall with a shunt bow, keeps himself alive for now. Snowflower now in a really rough spot, pops the shield, but it's just not going to be enough. The bouncing blade from Faker will pick up yet another one, a near ace for SK Telecom over Jhin Air, 14-8 on the board, and you have to think that the turret's going to be going down as well.
Faker's first ever competitive game on Katarina didn't start off the best, got first blooded, but suddenly those kills come a-rolling, Achilles.
Oh.
Jhin Air going to try and recommit here.
They're not done yet, but 3 members are still dead. Ixu coming in, a bit overzealous by him. Kuzan was there to back him up, but didn't even have the Frozen Tomb. So burns out the teleport, and that's just going to give an earlier advantage over to Huni.
Yeah, not sure about the shot call there. They didn't have the damage realistically take someone down. We're going to see the replay. Given where the game was at, this went pretty well for Jhin Air. Ixu sidesteps the route, able to get in the back line. They kill Bang early. It's a 1-for-1 with Singed. And then a second kill goes down. You're like, all right, Jhin Air got this. Important thing to note is that Teddy, full health, free hitting, doing just fine. At this point, Jhin Air have won the fight. It's SKT who make the smart play. Teddy stands next to a wall, gets slammed in, gets chunked out, and Faker, even without ult, has enough damage to take him down. Teddy alive
gorgeous.
and Teddy dead. That's the difference in a won and lost team fight for Jhin Air Green Wings. And very opportunistic from Huni, but he was the real star of that fight.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we could very well see Huni coming up with yet another MVP. Bang, though, all by himself in the top lane, throws out the bomb. He's just going to tickle these members of Jhin Air, and he will go down quite swiftly. Teddy able to find the kill, so just a little bit of overextension there
Really
from
sure
Bang.
how he didn't catch any of the Jhin Air members, given all the wards are on the map, but
I don't really know.
yeah.
I mean, the Abyssal Voyage definitely does help out,
Sure.
but still, odd positioning from Bang, and he does pay for it. But that's just a consolation prize after that last fight, taking down the Ziggs. It'll elongate the lifespan of that turret in the top lane, but Faker is going to start knocking down the rest of its HP. Might actually be able to take it. Nope. Arrival of Teddy, and the mystery of wondering where the rest of Jhin Air was is enough to dissuade him.
They do have some very advanced vision. They actually have a pink sticking right next to the inner turret of Jhin Air. So
Whoa, that's not a pink anymore.
that's true. A control ward, my apologies. I see a ward that's not a green ward, which also I guess doesn't exist either. We're stealth and control now. We sound like expansion packs for a board game.
Yeah.
SKT just pushing out. Their Baron speed is certainly on the lower end compared to some of the previous team comps we've seen. Don't have a Kha'Zix this time.
I mean, Riot does have a board game. Those could be the expansion packs for that.
There's ideas.
Okay, I can call them Riot games.
Okay.
All right. I was being unfair. Faker going in as the Death Lotus gets down to about half HP, dodges out on the Sonic Wave and the Deadly Flourish. He's going to get caught by those Kurt Call shots, but Teddy, he's low. Here comes Peanut in underneath the turret. Doesn't matter if he's exhausted, still comes up with a kill. The turret is going to go down. Bang finishes that one off quite swiftly. Meanwhile, Huni splitting in the bot, going to be looking for a tier 2.
Yeah, the moment that Ixu has to become accountable to the rest of his team is when you know that things are kind of quickly falling apart for Jhin Air. Does do very, very well in the side push, but for now, just able to pick up minion waves after already one of his members went down, as Huni gets free damage on the inner bot lane turret. Things unraveled so quickly for Jhin Air. They had an even brighter start than they did in Game 1 in this game, but you give champions like Ziggs and Katarina an inch, and they take that mile.
Yep. And now things are looking pretty grim for them. 6.6 thousand ahead for SK Telecom. And it's just under 25 minutes. Baron not yet coming to contention. We've only seen one Dragon go down as well, so really different from what we saw in that first game. Kuzan getting jumped on by Huni. It's a matter if she's a tank. She still does a heck of a lot of damage. That Poppy knocks down Lissandra to about half HP. So he'll have to hightail back up the lane and keep himself safe.
But map pressure exclusively on the side of SKT.
Yep. Oh, MT throws out the Dragon's Rage to try to knock Huni away. He's able to dash over on the Snowflower to keep himself alive, but he will no longer be able to contest around that Dragon. So that'll just be handed off to SK Telecom. They'll put a second one on the board. Oh, Bang! Recalling on top of a ward, maybe shopping, wasn't really paying attention there. Gets sniped out by the Ziggs.
Power of deep vision, Achilles. Gets you those kills, bang.
Look at that stone.
Nonchalant, the frustration
Stone cold killer.
On the side of
Look at this tower, just getting shredded down. Already has a satchel charge ready to go. One more hit, pops it, and the turret disappears.
And the lane assignment is so perfect for SKT because no longer does Poppy have to worry about this Singed.
Nope.
Instead, do you know what you have in the top, Achilles? You have a Katarina trading farm with a Singed. And that is a happy time for SKT.
It's a bad place to be in if you're Jin Air, that's for damn sure. Curtain call opened up. They're going to be trading bullets. Looks like Peanut might take the last one, or Wolf, there we go. Hits him for just a paltry 409. So not going to be able to come up with too much. They do hold on to that tier 2 tower in bot, but they are just bleeding resources all over the map.
And those resources are going to the ideal recipients. We always talk about when, say, an early game AD carry is trading farm with a Vayne. You're like, well, Vayne is going to get more out of this gold he's picking up. Look in the top lane. Katarina going to put the finishing touches on a Void Staff, on the Death Cap, on whatever the next pickup is. And sure, Singed might get an extra 20, 30 MR, but the rest of the team is going to feel the brunt, and it's ideal to have this farm falling onto a no-teleport Katarina.
Yeah, I mean, 5-1-5, up just about 30 CS over Kuzan at this point. And, I mean, he was losing in CS really badly at the beginning of the game, and SKT, superior macro play coming through. Faker on Katarina. It's just all of the stars have aligned for them in this game at the moment. And it just seeming ever so unlikely that Jin Air will be able to do anything to turn this around.
And you know what the scariest thing is, Achilles? We learned that Faker is confident enough to blind pick Katarina. So suddenly...
It wasn't the first pick, but he still did blind pick it.
But the worry is that suddenly, do you have to dump a ban on Katarina too? Like, I mean, at some point, if you're on the red side, you really need some bonus bans, and I thought 5 would be enough, but another 5 might be all right.
Yeah. Rough life, and I mean, this was one of the things that we, you know, as soon as we found out that the 10-ban system was coming in, that we said, you know what, SK Telecom, this is a team that could absolutely excel with this system. Faker having an immense champion pool, you know, Peanut very reliable regardless of what you put him on, and then Coma, of course, best coach in the world, proven time and time again, really. So this system suits them so well, and we're seeing that displayed right here. Granted, it's against Jin Air. This is, you know, a middle-of-the-pack team potentially in LCK. They have been impressing today so far, but we have to see how SK Telecom is going to fare going up against, you know, Longshu Gaming, going up against Samsung Galaxy, KT Rolster, these big teams that everyone anticipates will be in the top 4, top 5 by the end of the season.
Well, the whispers from preseason is that SKT are the best, Achilles.
Man, what I mean, those whispers have been happening since, like, season 3.
Yeah, you say that, but there's been seasons where people like, these guys are looking better, or like SKT starting slowly.
I mean, that was actually summer last year, so
this was definitely
seen it from
this
them.
is definitely a time when you'd be like, okay, put in Huni and Peanut, they're really good, but who knows how it works 5v5. The word from Scrims is it worked pretty damn well. And we're seeing it on the Rift, and it looks pretty good here, too.
Yep. Well, that bomb not going to connect from Bang. Misu has come in with the teleport. Running his way through. Doesn't really have a target to go for. Might just have to run back down the lane, get stunned to the wall. Huni up in the front line, going to be tanking up. Peanut, he goes in, tries to get the assassination of the Kuzan. Won't be able to find it. But Faker is able to finish off the Singed. Nicely done. Peanut makes it out with his life as well. Curtain call. Comes out from Teddy. Can he find anyone, though? Bang is perfectly comfortable to sit in the front line and take up the shots.
Looking for a flash ult.
Oh, that's going to be the root coming in into the stun. Snowflower is there for the Devour to keep the Jin alive. He barely escapes with his own life. So far, just 1 kill picked up, plus the tier 2 tower. SKT, how far do they want to push this? Looks like it's going to be right there. See, of course, not going to go in on that Sonic Wave, just dashes to the side. But SK Telecom, they got what they wanted, priority of the mid and top lane, and that's going to just make taking Baron even easier.
Yeah, they lose their bot lane turret to minions as well. Only Lissandra has any semblance of wave clear to really stop Ziggs from getting an auto attack with Lichbane, and 3 of those and a W, and that's probably goodbye turret. So the margins are pretty slim. Certainly the fat has been trimmed here.
Oh boy, flash forward on the Snowflower. They take him out before he can use the Great Health Shield. And Bang picks up yet another one, 6, 2, and 5 on the Ziggs. Been having a pretty good performance for Ziggs' debut in the bottom lane in LCK. And bomb thrown out. Teddy loses about half of his HP. He'll be all right, however. Moody coming over the wall, stuns in onto Umti. Can they take him out? Tries to get through the base gate, but just can't do it. Hooney finishes him off. And SKT, they sweep through the jungle, get rid of pretty much all of the vision of Jin Air. But they say, screw it, let's not even go for the Baron. Let's come straight down the mid lane and try to take out Ixu.
Feeling the full brunt of the gold lead. It's 12,000 gold lead for SKT. They don't really have Baron damage, but just the extra gold they have and a bit of time, they'll be able to take it down. Can always turn around for a pick.
Yep, and Jin Air, they have to know that this is happening, but they don't have a smite available for another 10 seconds on the recall. And then MT would still have to run his way over. Teddy trying to get the steal desperately with some of these shots, or at least whittle down SKT, but to no avail. Peanut smites it out, goes over to them, and you have to expect it. That was the final tool that SKT needed to finish off Jin Air and win in this nice 2-0.
Yeah, now Poppy just comfortably beats Singe in the 1v1 in the side lanes. The minions just can't be gassed down by the Singe anywhere near as easily. Just a bonus Ocean Drake on the top. Everything looking great for SK Telecom T1.
Yep, and Ixu, even with a Zerat portal, is just not nearly annoying enough to dissuade SK Telecom from continuing their onslaught. You can see waves pretty much pushed up in every lane. Top gonna have to be moved a little bit, but for now SK Telecom gonna put their focus on the bottom lane. Wolf did go back to base, so he won't be able to rejoin for a little bit of time, but SKT is just gonna use this to try to poke out where they can. Maybe get some hits in onto the turret with Bang if he can walk up.
I mean, Ziggs just throws down.
Yes.
Ziggs just throws down the ultimate.
The turret's at 30%.
Katarina can posture forward. Even if the turret was being better defended, you just throw down an ult and suddenly everyone's in range of Katarina, so...
Goodbye.
Burst and a resetting assassin is always best friends forever.
That is just filthy damage. Who's on? Is he looking for a TP spot? Looks like he might be.
Oh, Faker goes home.
Just sitting inside the base. Peanut, he's going to get kicked in. Flashes away, but it's not enough. Gets taken down. Teddy finds the kill. Bang not going to get rooted by the deadly flourish. No one had touched him before that moment. So he'll be all right. Fourth and final shot comes in. Not going to connect. And now Kuzan has come in with the teleport. Exhaust comes down immediately onto him. Bang flashing over the wall, but it's not enough. Is able to actually pick up the kill in the end to get rid of the Lysandra. But SKT losing several members, 3 going down. Hooney trying to finish off Ixu as best as he can. Will be able to do so in the end. Faker not jumping over the wall. The chase onto Umti. And Hooney, he's just going to keep the wave moving. Try to be as much of a nuisance as possible. Pretty unkillable on the Poppy at the moment. But a little bit of sloppiness there from SKT. Maybe some just disjointed communication as Faker went with the recall.
I mean, Faker basically recalled in vision as there were still pick tools available for Jin Air, so definitely something that you expect to be ironed out. There's not going to be much on the VOD that Como and Rapid Style have to walk through, but that was certainly atypical. Exactly, it's pretty straightforward. Just don't do that. But
yep. Oh, Faker has to pop the Zonia Sonic Wave. Won't connect because of it. He gets devoured by Snowflower. Gets popped by Teddy. Taking him out with that shot. Now Hooney, far forward, gonna have to run out here. Nice deny on the resonating strike. Looks like he might be okay. No, the flash forward Snowflower. They really want to kill him, or at least get rid of that Guardian Angel. Hooney almost takes out Umti, and now here comes Peanut. A telltale sign as you hear the Rengar go into the ultimate. Gets a little bit of damage in, a smattering of it, but can't find a kill. But it's enough to keep Hooney alive. Make sure he doesn't lose that Guardian Angel.
If we know, probably people learn at this point not to recall on wards, so no assassination from Bang that time. He's gonna go and pick up blue buff. Pretty elegant with Katarina in mid. Obviously no big need for the blue buff, means that for once Faker is denied blue by his own team.
I'm sure if he had asked for it, they would still give it to him.
That's true. They gave him Knight's Vow. Blue buff seems like just a slam dunk there.
Yeah. And working our way back towards that. Hooney coming in, has that Aegis ready to go. Might be ready to complete in just a little bit more time. And he popping the Ghost Blade just to run back into the base. But yeah, Jin Air, really rough spot to be in. SKT have played these last couple of fights, these skirmishes, a little sloppily, but Jin Air just hasn't been able to capitalize. They haven't been able to take any objectives. There's no dragons for them. There's no turrets taken on the map. So even if Jin Air could get an ace, 35 minutes, death timers are fairly long. It's not like they can win the game off of that.
There'll be a couple of aces, and it's worth pointing out that it's sloppiness in terms of disrespect rather than necessarily mechanics or 5v5 concerns.
Yeah.
In a true 5v5, they should win out, and this is going to be pretty close to one.
Yep. This big knock-up with the keeper's verdict. Bomb from Bang will get a little bit of damage in. He's going to finish off that turret. Now the inhibitor will be in their eyes. Ixu getting stunned into the wall. Snowflower comes in with a devour to keep him alive. Kuzan has to dash back with the glacial path. Current calls opened up. Faker and Wolf are both low. If they get hit by these shots, they will go down. Fourth and final shot comes through. Oh, barely outraged by Faker. So will not fall. The inhibitor goes down, and SKT continue to bleed Jin Air dry. Ixu, even to the back line with a teleport, has to think better of that one. Pops the Righteous Glory.
He's just being annoying.
And yeah, it might be being annoying to his own teammates at this point. Why did you teleport? He's going to get rooted, stunned to the wall. Popped up into the air by the Zyra, and it looks like he's going to go down. So Ixu trying to be a nuisance, but it's just causing harm to Jin Air in the end.
Always a fine line between proxying a Singed and just feeding. Ixu had some pretty good moves in the early game, but maybe the ladder is creeping in a little bit here. If you could just waste time and get out, then sure, you buy time for Kuzan and the others to wave clear, but when your front line is dead, goodbye another turret.
Oh boy. Oh, nice devour just in time by Snowflower. Stop that. Execute coming through by Bang, but that's all three inhibitors dead. And let's take a look at how quickly Bang will be able to knock down these inhib turrets if he can just get the auto attack in. Hasn't walked up to it yet, waiting for that mid lane wave to crash. But SKT, this is looking like the end of the series for them. Third call opened up, Kuzan goes in, locks down, Bang, will he go down? Big shield coming out from that lock-in. Gets popped, one more hit, will do it. Teddy is able to finish him off with that fourth and final front shot. Faker going into the Death Lotus, doesn't get a whole lot done. Whittles down a couple members, but still not enough.
Yeah, there's the helicopter just to end things off, but see, you were talking about Ziggs reaching for that auto attack. Doesn't have the longest auto attack range. Good pick options by Jin Air, take him out, so
Needs a rapid fire cannon.
I mean, honestly, there are worse 6 items in that kind of a situation, but once again, a bit of a reprieve for Jin Air, but probably not going to change the texture of the game at all.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Now 3 dragons here for SK Telecom. The Elder Drake spawn. Baron getting ready to come up in just 5 seconds. Jin Air, they're going to start this one, but SKT, they're waiting in the wings. This is the Hail Mary play coming through from them. Peanut jumping onto Kuzan, almost takes him out. He holds onto the Frozen Tomb. Using some restraint there. Huni going into the pit. Elder Drake down to about half HP. Bang now coming up. Can he get in range to at least throw out a bomb? Maybe get some damage onto the members of Jin Air. You can see Kuzan going with the recall. Has the TP available. Who is going to end up with this Elder Drake? Looks like it might be SKT if they don't want to just push in and try to come up with a kill. Teddy gets popped up, gets taken out. Double kill coming through for Peanut. The bomb from Bang going to go wide as everybody's already dead. The Elder Dragon taken out. And SK Telecom, they are set to win this game. Nexus turrets almost gone. The last one barely standing.
Yeah, Jin Air didn't have anywhere good to fight. They tried to fight an Elder Drake. Now their base being completely crushed. Last turret's going to fall soon, and maybe some members as well.
Yep, Faker just going to pad the KDA, takes out Snowflower. The Nexus is exposed. They will work their way through them, and there we have it. It's Swift 2-0. Oh, not so Swift 2-0 coming through for SKT, rather. 40 minutes and 45 for both games, but a bit of a slaughter in the second one. But still, Jin Air showing some prowess in the beginning of the game, but they let it slip through their fingers. If they had played that way against a lesser team than SKT, they very well could walk away with a win, but SKT, doesn't matter what members are on this team, seems like they will always be dominant as long as Faker's there.
And that's kind of the takeaway, Achilles. There's a best case scenario and a worst case scenario for SKT. both from this game. The best case scenarios for the fans. SKT, sure, maybe Peanut and Faker need to work on a bit of synergy, when to go in, when to go out. But Huni understands his role. SKT's champion pools have never looked more impressive. 5 bans looked about 5 too short of actually being able to crimp some styles, because you ban the must-ban champions on red, suddenly Ziggs gets through, suddenly Katarina gets through, and they'll blind pick these champions. They'll take some risks, and they can play the meta and also famously have those really high-tier extended champion pools. And now, if you're an opponent of SK Telecom, you realize that, man, they are going to be an uphill battle for anyone to take down.
I mean, you have to imagine that all of the other teams are sitting at home in their team houses watching this series right now. And you know that they've, run draft simulations to try to figure out, like, oh, I wonder what Koma's going to do. And now they have to go, crap, we have to ban Katarina.
Maokai, Katarina, Ziggs, these are all extra champions that clearly SKT can play at a higher level than you would have necessarily expected. We knew Faker could pick Katarina, but if it's a blind pick, suddenly a different story. So,
I mean, Kuzan got his desired counter pick. I mean, Lissandra, not the most entrenched in the meta at the moment, but something that he's very familiar with. And, got that first blood coming through for the side of Jennair. Things were looking good, but just to start snowballing ever so steadily, and there's just no way to stop Faker on that Katarina. He had some wonderful plays. The disconnect in communication with this recall, a bit comedic, but still, SK Telecom. They come out the gate swinging here, the first day of LCK, and they are just looking monstrous.
Yeah, Jennair, again, a lot to be happy about. I thought Umti looked very good. I thought he was the best player on the side of Jennair.
Some shining moments. Want to see how deep his champion pool can go, as we only got to see the Lee Sin from him, but we'll take a look at who our MVP for Game 2 is.
Who's this guy?
And it's Faker. Of course, 56% kill contribution. That'll be his first MVP. A great way to kick off the season for both he and Huni. And a 7.0 KDA, 8-2 and 5, or 8-2 and 6 rather. I'm a little bit blind on that Katarina.
It didn't start off well, but we've all played solo queue. We know how the old story goes. Any kills come in, and the cascading effect from there is impressive. I thought Snowflower would get out of this one, but Faker's super committed. He got a couple of kills from it, and from there, Faker ran away with the game. The chaos that was kind of absent in the early game where Jennair got that first kill. We saw the Lee Sin solo kill Rengar, and we're like, okay, maybe Jennair can stop the snowball. Faker was so smart here, advancing towards the side of the blast cone to join Umti. Knew his damage output, put out the ignite. Faker always a couple of steps ahead. I think it was Mad Life at All-Star who said that Faker would celebrate a kill 5 seconds before he actually got the kill credit because he saw the mistake and he knew how the next 5 seconds would play out. And guess what? There's playing chess with some champions, and there's being able to play chess with Katarina, because if you see fights 5 seconds ahead as Katarina, everyone dies.
I mean, at that point, you're just seeing the world in slow motion. You know exactly what's going to happen, how things are going to play out. Faker, of course, just showing that he is completely on a whole other level compared to everybody else, as we have known for years and years, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon.
And Peanut. No slouch either. Sure, he might have died early, but it's the use of the ultimate, just like Twisted Fate when you have these really map-impacting ultimates. Every single ult he used, he got a kill, he got an assist. It was a big part in the game, so again, things to fix, but on the whole, very impressive from SKT T1.
Yep, well, with that, we're going to throw over to Joel for translation so we can hear from our first 2 MVPs here at OGN. Joel, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translations, and we are here with SKT, who won today against Jennair Green Wings. We are here with their MVPs, Huni and Faker. Huni, Faker, congratulations. Can you give us a comment on the win, Huni? First of all, I want to say, really thank all the people here out today who are cheering out for us. It was just an exciting and just a very energetic game and as the first match that I've played in Korea, I'm glad that everybody here is supporting me today. A lot of people have been pretty speculating on Huni, whether you can play a tank champion. How were you able to do such a feat? But, if anybody who's good at League of Legends, it doesn't matter if you're a tank or a dealer, we can play any champion. What do you think about that? I think if I practice, I can play tank champions too. Right now, the current meta for top laners is that a lot of the carry champions are dominating the top lane phase right now. But you were looking through the whole balance of the team. What was the reason for being so aggressive in the tank role, playing today's 2 games? First of all, I think it was a trust that my teammates had in me, being able to play any kind of champions and playing it well. And we are having a support role and a jungle role being so aggressive, I have to be a little more passive in my role to create the balance. And if I do my role, our team will take care of the rest. That's what I think in the whole game. I just did what I was supposed to do, and I think that's how we came up with the win.
I just realized it's weird to hear Huni speak Korean.
Yeah, really. At this point.
What a world.
It seems like Jin Air was really focused on Faker and trying to cash out the dealers. What was your comment on that? Yeah, I think they were really after me today. I think I need to be a little more thoughtful next time in my moving. You showed a very, very incredible game with the Katarina today. Everybody in the fan here knows how much you practice the Katarina. It's just the confidence that is going forward with you. When I was first played the new remade Katarina, it was a champion that I thought I couldn't use in the competitive play. But with consistent practice, it was good enough that I can use a competitive play, and I played it today. There is a prepared video clip that we can look at, and we can talk further about that. This is where Peanut got cut off. I don't know what your thought was on during this play is going against 1v3 in there. It was I already had the thought that I could catch all 3 champions right there. Iksu kind of came in pretty well on this play. What were you thinking during this? Iksu did came in, but our teammates covered very well, and we were able to make a comeback play on this team fight. What we are seeing very noticeable here is that Huni is on the midst of all this, putting in that tank role and keeping the team alive. I went with my instincts first, as any time I do. Because I have faith in my teammates, I was able to make those plays. You seem like someone who's been in SKT for years talking like that. A lot of people have been pretty curious about the background information about you. With me entering SKT, it was a pretty unique situation. It was a situation where I did not really receive an official offer from SKT, but 2 years ago, it was a situation where they kind of looked me over, and they were just always looking out for opportunities for me to join. And maybe those were the situations where we got in contact, and I was able to join the team. A lot of people are having questions about whether the lost synergy between, with Bengi being gone and with Peanut joining, what's this new synergy like? With Peanut, he looks at the mini-map very frequently when he makes his plays. And it was a situation where everything about Peanut was really easy for me to adjust with him, creating a new synergy with him. Were you really satisfied when Peanut came to the squad? We were just wanting any jungler that could be world-class, and Peanut was one of them. Huni, in the debut match of your LCK career, you've earned an MVP today. and you want to say anything in English to your global fans out there. I want to first say something to my Korean fans. Thank you to all the fans for coming out today. And a lot of people were worried about me, really worried about whether I can adjust with the team. But I really want to get rid of all those predispositions, and because of the faith that you guys put in me, you can say all the good things and bad things about me, but my confidence arose because of all those support and attention that was given to me. And I was really thankful to everybody, so thank you, everyone. And
thanks for watching for today, the LCK for first game in SKT with me. So finally, it's kind of, it was not clear, but still we got the 2-0, and I hope you guys are gonna cheering for me until World Championship. Thank you.
we don't need translation for that.
No, we do not. Faker's like, crap, he's better than me at something.
He's biding his time. We know how Faker is.
It seems like after today's game, the SKT fan base is only going to be growing even higher. And thank you, both players, for the MVP interview. So that's the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, for the fantastic translation, as always. So you heard it right there from Hooney. Wanted to basically shut up the naysayers, say, you know what, I can play tanks, I can synergize with this team, and he proved it right here in this first set.
And what better venue to shut up the haters to do it from the MVP seat when you won 2-0 on your new team?
Absolutely.
He chose pretty well. You know, Fnatic, he was an unknown, excelled, he went to Immortals, it looked like they were going to really top the charts in NA, and then he saw this SKT team, he thought, you know, this team might be all right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he had to go to SKT and be like, please, use me. I want to play with you.
That's actually what his interview said. We got that information here.
Yeah.
He was the one that went to SKT and was like, consider me. And we knew that actually he was considered for their B team many moons ago. He's on the A team, looking good, but we're going to have a bit of a break. We're going to actually be about 52 minutes because we have the set starting time of 8 p.m. But at 8 p.m., MVP versus the, well, you can say it, Achilles.
The BBQ Olivers. So not sure how this one's going to go, honestly. I mean, BBQ Olivers taking over ESC Ever. MVP maintaining their roster from last split. And honestly, they looked like a very promising group of young guys. So have to say that MVP likely has the advantage coming into this matchup, as ESC Ever was sent to relegation where they knocked out CJ Entis, or helped in that process. So let's see how this one goes, but yeah, like you mentioned, we'll be back in about 50 minutes for that one, so do have that slight little break, so you get some time, go use the bathroom, get a drink, maybe even play a solo queue game, you know, or an ARAM, something like that. Yeah, stick to ARAM. That won't last that long, but all right, we'll be back in 50 minutes, guys. We'll see you then. Don't go anywhere.